This is a Cincy fan talking with LP. You can catch me on Twitter. That's a Cincy fan talking. You say it like it sounds, just leave off the G. If you have ideas for the show, you can reach me at Cincy_fan talk at yahoo.com. If you have any suggestions for the show, make sure you leave them there. Who knows, you might find yourself as part of the show. Any feedback would be definitely appreciated. And also, make sure you hit the Linktree page that's on my Twitter. Make sure you click on that. You can find all the different ways to contact me there. Enjoy the show. What's up? What's going on, everybody out there in podcast land or podcastville or whatever you want to call it? This is a Cincy fan talking with LP, and of course, this is your boy LP. Appreciate you stopping by, sticking and staying with us. We're gonna get into some football stuff, some Bengals stuff. We'll bounce around like we always do. Make sure you subscribe to the pod so you know when we're dropping. It's pretty much always Tuesday night, but if it switches up, you'll have the lowdown noted if you subscribe. So click the little bell on your podcast engine or whatever and make sure you do that. My Bengals. And I feel like the wife said it best. She's like, you spend 3.5, 4 hours watching the game. They basically take up a big block. You invest emotionally, and you're like, we hope we do it. And they've been finding ways to just not get it done lately. And it's like once you think they're good, they crash, and once you think they're about to crash, then they're good. So I got 3 points about the Bengals. I got 3 points, and I feel like it sums up what we saw on Sunday, and it sums up what the Bengals have been pretty much so far. So my first point is, as long as you got Joe, you got a chance. It's been a long time in Bengals country since we felt like we're never out of a game. Normally in years past, the Bengals play like they did in the first half against the Niners, and you go like, this game is over. And of course, it's over. But with Burrow in the backfield, even if you're down 17 points in the second half, in the fourth quarter, you feel like you got a chance. There are very few quarterbacks you look at around the league and you go like, we're never out of a game with this quarterback. You feel like that with Aaron Rodgers. You feel like that with Tom Brady. There are very few quarterbacks that instill that confidence that no matter what, you're still in the game. Russell Wilson gives you that feel. He gets the ball in his hand and you're like, hey, we got a chance to win this. There are very few QBs. I mean, if you go down the list, you'll probably get about 5 or maybe 6 where no matter the deficit, the game is not over. Joe Burrow is quickly becoming one of those QBs where you go like, okay, we down 17, fourth quarter, 10 minutes left. Just get the ball back for Joe and he'll get it done. So you're not out of a game with Joe. The fact of the matter is, when you take the ball out of Joe's hands, it becomes difficult for him to do his St. Joe Thug Thizzle. Like, he can't do that. And that's what happened on Sunday. And I was talking to the homies from Core Extra about this. As always, make sure you check out Core Extra. It's a dope pod. They run the gamut of different topics. It's a real good listen. So make sure y'all do that. And I think we both came to the consensus that Zach Taylor overanalyzes what's going on in the game. It's like he kind of has a plan and he's sticking to it and he won't adapt. He won't switch it up, which is strange because as a coach, there are times where you have to rely on analytics. You have to go like, okay, they have a tendency to do this, so we're going to go ahead and drop it over their head. Or they have a tendency to do this, so we're going to run the ball. There's a place for that. But a coach gets paid to understand when to go away from the analytics, and you looking at the Jimmies and the Joes. You looking at, I got this player, and this player has been getting it done for the past 7 minutes. I gotta let him do his thing. I feel like the really great coaches, they understand when there's a time they have to put their players in the right spot. Like they get that. And then there's a time where they understand I got to get the hell out of the way and let my players that we brought in here do their job. I don't think Zach Taylor has managed that part yet. And he's a young coach, but he hasn't figured that out yet. He's young, but he's had time to figure this out. You're the head coach for a reason. It is your job to figure out when you have to manage the game and when you have to let the players manage the game. And yes, Joe is a young QB, but countless times over the course of this season and last season before he got hurt, he's shown that if you give him the ball, he can make things happen. And I really think Zach Taylor messed up in the overtime period when he didn't let Burrow do his thing and get the ball in the end zone. They're driving, and all of a sudden, Taylor's like, okay, look, it's best if we run the ball here because no, these are not the same overtime rules that it used to be. A field goal will not win you the game. It only extends the game for the other team. And you look on the other side of the field, Shanahan saw what was happening. He saw that George Kittle was running amok over the Bengals middle, and he just rolled the high hand. That that third, fourth down play, the third down play, I think it was like 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7. Everybody in the stadium knew that George Kittle was getting the ball. Oh look, George Kittle got the ball. First down. I mean, it was crazy to see and disappointing at the same time. I feel like it's the most difficult part of coaching, and at the same time, it's the part that you have to master in order to jump your team from mediocre to great. You have to figure out when to take your hand off the wheel and let your players do what they do. I'm not gonna sit up here in front. It is extremely difficult, and I'm sure there's a lot of people out there going like, "Oh well, he should have did this. He should have did that." As a coach, it's really difficult to see when that's gonna happen. But it was pretty easy on Sunday. I mean, it was pretty easy to figure out. Oh, look at Joe; he's getting it done. So that's my first point. Joe can get you dubs. Zach Taylor and the coaching staff has to figure out when it's time to let go of the analytics and just let the players do their thing. I feel like that's the most difficult part of society as a whole. Everything seems so data driven. Is it data or data? Whatever. Everything is so data driven. You know, you have to lean on the analytics because there's a 12% chance that this will happen. And I'm not the old school guy. There is definitely a place for analytics. But the analytics can't take away from the fact that a coach has to have a feel for the game enough to know what's working and what's not. And that might not go with the analytics. That might not line up correctly. But that's what the coaches do. That's what they're there for. That's why you're the head coach. I kind of feel like everything's dumped on the defensive coordinators and the offensive coordinators and this, that, and the third. What is the coach there for? To make the big decisions. And Taylor didn't make that big decision, and it cost him the game. Which kind of leads me to my second point. The Bengals are good enough to win the AFC North. But, and this is the big but right here. The Bengals have to get out of their own way. It's been a consistent problem throughout the entire season. The Bengals are this close to getting the W. And then mistakes happen. These mistakes just keep popping up. The Bengals don't show up to play in the first half against the Chargers. They wait too late to make the comeback. Last week against the Niners, just so many mistakes. It frustrating. It was so frustrating to watch. And I think the sequence in the second quarter, right before halftime, kind of summed up where things were going. The defense makes a stop, and the defense played a great game for the most part throughout the game. The defense makes a stop with less than 2 minutes left. The Bengals are going to get the ball back with 2 timeouts. The 49ers did their best play of the game in the first half. They punted the ball. By far, their best play of the game was to simply punt the ball and let the Bengals shoot themselves in the foot, which they did. Darius Phillips, and it's one of those things where you got to pick your players up. And I feel like the Bengals did that. You want to dump on the guy. He fumbled the ball twice, and it was absolutely ridiculous. But y'all got to understand, they're going to need Darius Phillips at some point throughout the season. So let's not get on this man too much. He understands that he made some terrible mistakes that might have cost the squad the game. And we can pretty much leave it at that. The best part about sports and life in general is that you get a chance to make it right. So hopefully he'll make it right next week, because it's getting close to the end of the year. Injuries are going to rear their ugly heads, and you're going to need players like Phillips to step up in that background role. So, yeah, he messed up royally. Cost the team some points, 10 points to be exact. But you got to move on. And in the moving on, I would say this to kind of sum up point two. The Bengals have to get out of their own way in order to go from mediocre, high middle class to a great team, a playoff contender to win in the first round and whatnot. You got to get out of your own way. I mean, football is hard enough. Like, it's hard enough to get first downs and touchdowns and to get takeaways and stuff like that. All of that is difficult to do. The Bengals are making it even more difficult by giving up the ball in crucial situations and fumbling it away. And I'm not saying anything that they don't know or you don't know. It's just that at some point, the Bengals have to get out of their own way and make the plays to get the win, or at the very least, secure the ball enough to force the other team to have to make long drives down the field. And a lot of the last two losses were really on the Bengals. That makes a Bengals fan not feel so bad about it, but it makes a Bengals fan feel more frustrated about it. I mean, you can take a loss. Teams lose. Somebody's going to win, somebody's going to lose unless you tie or whatever. But it hurts doubly to know that you can be the team, but you did things to make it easier for them. It hurts much more than a team just basically beating you. You can kind of understand that. You're like, okay, we took a loss. The team was way better than us. They did their thing. We got to work hard. We got to get back at it. We got to get this W. But to walk into a locker room after the game and then have to tell people, yeah, we had that game. If only's hurt. If we would have. And the Bengals have to eliminate that. I would like for them to come out against the Broncos, play their best, no turnovers, come out in the first quarter and establish themselves as a really good team. If they can do that and they still take an L, I'll still be upset, but at least we're complaining about different things. And point number three, I've been saying this all year, and you can kind of tell from everything that you're seeing. It's basically validated that next year will be the Bengals' year. I feel like this year is a preview of the greatness we're going to see next year. It is very frustrating to understand this, but to want your team to pull through and get W's now. A lot of people probably didn't think that the Bengals would be as good as they are and as competitive as they are, but with the nucleus that they're building and that they currently have, this is going to be a really good team next year. they're laying the groundwork right now to be a great team next year. So all of the mistakes that you're seeing, all of the fumbling, the offensive line help that they desperately need, the linebackers kind of being decimated, things like that. This is laying the groundwork for being a better team. However, if you continually play like this and you make the fumbles and you don't secure the ball and you leave the middle of the field open, these lead to bad habits for the next season, which either have to be fixed or it becomes you. This becomes who you are. And you definitely don't want that. So what the Bengals have to do is, even if they don't make the playoffs, even if they, they go 10-7 or 9-8 and they barely fall out of the playoff hunt, they have to play better. They have to play better than what they've been playing in the past 2 weeks. Because the last thing you want to do is have this become who you are. Because if it is, then you can't ascend to be that team that you want to be next year. Because I've always said next year is going to be the year. What's happening now is great. It's going to lay the foundation. But we're going to find out if that foundation is going to be rocky and leaning on analytics and not letting the players play, or if the Bengals are going to say, screw it, we're going out with our best players and we're going to lean on them, or they're not going to get it done. If this happens, you're going to see a big build up the next year, as it should be. So, next game against the Broncos, hey, hopefully they get it done, and we'll be talking real good stuff come Tuesday. So we'll see what happens. So we're getting in the bowl season. This is the time where in college you have four teams that are really playing for something, and then you have all of the other teams that are playing. Now bowls matter. I'm not going to sit here and say that they don't, because you get a chance to get a W at the end of the year. You get to practice for a couple of weeks all the way up to that bowl, which is absolutely awesome. And if you win, you get a trophy to put in your trophy case. You get to say you're the champion of something. Now, to be quite honest, in our house, we got this thing where we try to make up our own bowls. Um, we'll make the Sears Chipotle Pollo Asada bowl. Like we'll just make up our own bowls because it's ridiculous. Yeah, like the quick lane oil change bowl and the pinstripe new era bowl. Like I guess what you get for that? Fitted caps? Do they give you like a fitted to throw with your like to throw on with your throwback jersey so you can look like fabulous? I don't know. It's some weird bowls out there. I would personally like to be a part of the PlayStation Fiesta Bowl because I heard they all got PS5s last year, and I was really upset about that until I got my own PS5. I'm like, dang, all you had to do to get PS5 was play football? Like, wow, who knew? Or either that, or we can hit up the famous Idaho Potato Bowl, and we can all get free mashed potatoes because mashed potato that's a big thing. But but real talk though, this season shows me who's really a fan of their team and who's not. Because lately, this has been the time where you'll have people opt out. You'll have players say, I'm not going to be in this bowl game because I'm going to prepare for the draft. And you'll have a large segment of people just dumping on this player. Well, you don't care about the team. You letting us down. How come you don't want to play in the Gasparilla Lawnmower Bowl? You supposed to let us go out with a bang. And I'm like, hold on. Slow your roll right there. Because you have to understand that these players that are doing this, they have a really good chance to become pro draft picks. And I'm not going to sit up here and say that the bowl doesn't matter. Like, you skip this bowl and, it doesn't matter. It matters in the grand scheme of you could help your team win a game. It matters for that. But at the same time, can you really call yourself a fan of a team if a player decides to look out for their own best interest after giving you everything they had for a year or 2 years or 3 years or 4 or maybe even 5 years? They've given everything that they had. And now that they have a time to get theirs on the next level, You're upset that they're not putting their body on the line for one more game. That seems kind of selfish as a fan to me. I would look at it like this: if I had a son that was playing in the game like that, and he decided to play, I would be like, "Hey, give it your best. Make sure you're being careful. Play hard. Don't do anything differently." If he decided not to play, I would be like, "Hey, you made a really good decision. Protect yourself. Make sure you're still eating right. Make sure you support your teammates and do what's best for you." At no point would there be any judgment whatsoever because I would understand that my son gave everything he had to that team. And now he's looking for the team to give something back to him, which is support. I feel like as a society, we don't really do this for players. We always tend to lean on the institution or the team, but when it comes to the team looking out for the player, we don't really expect that, which is weird. The player is always down for the team. He's always willing to give whatever he can for the team. But where are the fans and where are the team for that player when the player needs support? Because all the player wants to do is get to the next level. He wants to help his team and get to the next level. There was an instance where I was watching a game one time. It was like Ohio State playing Notre Dame. I believe it was in the Fiesta Bowl or the Cotton Bowl or something like that. And one of the players, I think it was Jalen Smith for Notre Dame, just got hurt in a really messed up way. Tore up his knee, his ACL, and he was out for the entire next season. And he was a projected first, second round draft pick. Life is extremely unfair. Like it really is. I feel like the fairness in life is that it's unfair because it's unfair to everybody for the most part. But if there are ways you can mitigate that, if there's a way where you can go like, okay, I see the risk and I can avoid this risk by not doing this, we should all be supportive of that. If Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson for Old State both decided not to play, I would be like, dang, that's messed up. Okay, see you at the draft. Make sure you support the homies. And hey, thank you for everything you did for Ohio State because they've done everything that they possibly could to help my favorite team win games. They've been at the practices, they've been in the trenches, they made the catches over the middle, they've done all of that. And now they're simply asking for us to understand that they want to protect themselves to get to the next level. What's the fault in that? Like I don't get that. And I know people hit me up going like, "Hey LP, I don't think that's kind of selfish that they don't want to help, like the seniors that aren't gonna be going pro. They don't want to help them get one more win." Sure, they want to help them get more wins. That's what they've been doing for the past 4 years. But they need this one time for somebody to look out for them. That's what they need. You cannot spend your whole life looking out for everybody, and then when you need the help, nobody's looking out for you. And I feel like that's what this comes down to. Are we willing to support athletes when they need it? Because they really don't ask much from us. Not to my knowledge. They ask for us to cheer. Um, the athletes ask for us to, I don't know if they ask for us to come to the games more than the team does, but they just ask for us to support and they ask for us to cheer for real. This is the support part. So I feel like if your team, if you're really a fan of your team, this should be a no-brainer for you. And sure, it might mean that you're down some star players for a bowl game that you would like to win, but think about it. It's a bowl game that, in the grand scheme of things, most people won't even remember that you played in. I'm sure people will have a very hard time telling me who won the Rose Bowl in the past 3 years, unless it was the college football playoff. If it's a college football playoff, they're all playing and it's not a problem. Now, if you want to say that's the problem with the bowl structure, hey, I'm down for that conversation. I'm all ears. I probably agree with you because the bowl structure is messed up because only two bowls matter and the rest of them don't. That's completely and utterly insane. Most of these bowls should matter and they should all flow into a playoff system. Everybody should have a chance to win the college football playoff. And right now, only 6 or 7 teams do. We can have that conversation all day. But the way it's set up right now, there are really two bowls that matter a lot. And the rest of them, they kind of go in order of to what? That's pretty much the order of the bowls. So as long as we have this current structure, you have to understand that these players are going to do what they can to protect themselves. And it's up to us to support them because you've been enjoying these players put their bodies on the line year after year to let you brag at work. So the least you can do is support a player when they go like, look, I'm gonna go ahead and sit this one out because I want to go ahead and make it to the pros. I'm like, hey, high fives and hand pounds. Appreciate what you've done. And as long as they're still supportive of their team, that's my thing. It would be different if you saw a player just go like, "Up, I'm out." Hey, what about no? I'm out. I don't need to help them with nothing. We're good. But as long as they're supportive and that brotherhood is still there to kind of help your team get to the next, to help your team get that last win, even if you're not there, that's really what I'm about. So this is your time to show if you're a true fan by simply throwing your support any way you can towards the team, no matter what decision they make. If you up there hating on somebody on Twitter, beside by the way, these are like kids too. So if you still throwing shade at kids on Twitter because they decided to sit out the last game of the season to protect themselves, you got to rethink some stuff, buddy. I'm just saying. You got a Cincy fan talking with LP. We'll be right back.
Hi, hi. I'm Princess and I'm Queen. This is Daddy.
You have to say, and this is a Cincy fan talking with LP.
And this is a sensitive fan talking with LP Daddy.
Nice job.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, 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 you got a Cincy fan talking with LP. And of course, this is LP. Welcome back to the pod, y'all. We had some crazy storms roll through a lot of states here in the Midwest and the South. So, um, prayers that everybody that got caught up in all of that. Definitely, our heart goes out to anybody that lost somebody out there. Let you know we definitely thinking about you. It's it's a really tough time, especially down in Kentucky. So make sure y'all throw them all the support you can. If you can donate any type of funds you can, it'll definitely help out. And this is coming from um, me who kind of sort of understands what they're going through. I mean, it was a while ago. I think it was like '04. It was '03, as a matter of fact. And we basically lost everything in the fire. It was 2 days before Christmas. Literally lost everything. We were able to go back into the house, to the townhome, and grab some stuff up and get it out. But it was very few things. I mean, we were walking in the Family Dollar. The wife, girlfriend at the time, she's in just socks while we're going to just get some things for the evening. Before we had to go to a hotel or something like that because we had lost everything. So the one thing that kind of helped us through that terrible time was Red Cross. Red Cross, and it was some church groups as well, stepped up and helped everybody that lost everything. They gave us vouchers for furniture. I mean, they gave us the food and things like that, and it was absolutely awesome to see a lot of people coming together to help out people that they didn't even know because we didn't even know these people like at all. They gave us vouchers to go to the eye doctor to help us get contacts because we lost glasses and things in the fire and things for toys for the kids and stuff like that, and we were just overwhelmed at the awesome humanity that we saw because you go through something like that and everything is gone and you quickly go from, okay, what's happening for Christmas, what are we doing, and you go from that to, damn, where are we sleeping tonight. It was like it was really, really, it was a crazy time, and And we can definitely understand what they're going through to some level. But I mean, the mass destruction is down there. I mean, it is painful to watch. We had that same storm roll through here. It wasn't as intense. We thought it would be. I stayed up to like 2:30 in the morning Friday, just trying to make sure that everything was cool because we had the emergency plan and stuff like that just in case we had to get the kids down to the basement. So I'm just awake, and the wife is like, how long you gonna stay up? I'm like, I don't even know. I'm just watching weather forecast and checking out Twitter, and you can start to see the destruction, and it's just kind of rolling through different places, and I'm like, damn, this is crazy. So, I mean, 100% be safe out there, y'all, and if you can, make donations to Red Cross, and if you can hit up a church, a local church group, and kind of donate them things, and anything you can do to help the people in these states that lost everything and may have lost loved ones and things like that. If you can do something like that, it would it would really help out. I don't think people understand how much giving a little means because it's those little things that helps out. I mean, I think out of all the stuff that we got when we were super down, I think it was just like the little small toys that the kids were able to get, and we were like, this helps us because we don't really have to worry about that small thing. They have a little something to do while we work out these big particulars. So it was a crazy time. And one, I don't know if this is funny, but it was like absolutely messed up that the company where they kind of they leased out the townhomes and things like that. They gave us another one, but it was literally across the street from our townhome that burned, and we were just looking like we appreciate this, but y'all some real pricks, like like y'all some real life pricks for doing this because we're looking literally at our spot that burned down, and they helped us move in across the street from it. And we like, damn, we appreciate it, but y'all couldn't give us nothing in the back. Like, like y'all have town. This is a big townhome place. I mean, it's a lot of spots out here. This was the only open unit though, and I asked them politely, and that's what they said. They was like, yeah, this is the only open unit. So we're like, it's messed up. But I mean, blessings come in weird ways because it seems like everything after that moment kind of helped us build in a positive way. And low key, when we plugged in the television to that spot, like it had like an illegal cable hookup, and we were like, damn. Like this may be the start of something great. Like plugging it in, like wow, whoa, all these channels. How did this happen? Okay, so but honestly, man, if you can do anything to help out, people that have lost something, in all of these states, definitely do that because we definitely plan on doing that. So y'all should do the same. And on that note, we're gonna go ahead and roll out. Um, Christmas is coming around, so have Santa have the toys in a good spot. And as always, we'll catch y'all next week. As always, life is good, y'all. Peace out. If you're not ready for the conversation to end, I'm not either. Make sure to catch me on Twitter. That's the Cincy Fan Talking. Leave off the G at the end of it, and we can keep the conversation going. Also, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button so you can catch the next episodes. The episodes will drop every Tuesday. If there's a change in that, I'll make sure to let you know. Appreciate the support. As always, life is good.